what will Donald Trump have to do in order to restore that image of America that might prevent conflicts in the near future?
Well, the good thing is President Trump already did it. He wound out of multiple world wars, and as you mentioned, he didn't. He's the only president in modern history not to start a new one. And if the initial indications after the election are any indication of how it's going to be a very peaceful process. You know, he had a phone call with Vladimir Zelensky and already talked about winding down the Ukraine war, and he's already, discussed, had phone calls with multiple world leaders. But what you have to do is what President Trump already did. It's no secret. Prioritize the collection of intelligence against our adversaries to make sure that we defeat the threats, which is the Iranian mullahs and the #1 state sponsor of terror, and also make sure we keep in check the CCP and our Russian adversaries from attacking our cyber infrastructure. But you can't do that if your intelligence communities are prioritized against climate change and DEI. And President Trump made it clear. The priorities are the border, terrorists, bringing home hostages, and ending the forever wars. And I think that mandate will carry.
We'll talk about the bureaucracy, the defense bureaucracy and their DEI stuff and the problems it's having with recruitment, for example. But I want to go back to Iran. The maximum pressure campaign of the first Trump administration was very successful. Brought the mullahs to their knees economically, it prevented them from funding terrorism, it prevented them from working more on their nuclear program. Are you immediately, is the president immediately going to go back to the maximum pressure campaign against Iran?
The president will announce his campaign. I'll just tell you what worked. And I think it was a multitude of things. This full-on sanctions program against the Iranian economy to suffocate the mullahs from making money. I don't think the president's going to fork over another $7 billion like Harris did to them so they can start another world war. He's also going to talk to allies and adversaries about trade with Iran and have a global coalition, because we can't do it alone, to take on Iran and make sure they don't do one thing we can't have them do, which is achieve a nuclear bomb, which they're dangerously close to under the Biden-Harris administration. So these next 75 days are critical, because Iran's going to hyperspeed what they are currently working on, knowing that President Trump's coming in and knowing that his allies around the world are going to put Iran back in check. And I think you're going to